Can you? I'm gonna undo that. Okay, just for the moment till we're ready to start. Also, I'm not even looking. I need to move this so that I'm looking at the camera too. Okay.
I mean, I'm super unprepared other than the fact that I like made the providers work. And then I want to
We're
build
good.
them
We're
into
good.
a component, which I'm hoping you can help me with a little because I don't know what I'm doing.
Let's find out. No, but what I was going to tell you, so if you are, as people are joining, oh shoot, we got a bunch of people. So I'll give you the background about why I was going to tell the story I was going to tell. So right before I turned on go live, I asked Gwen, I said, are you ready? She goes, no, but let's do it anyway. And so one of my favorite movies is this movie called State and Maine. And it's a movie about making movies, which are rarely good, but although the player is great too. But anyway, long story short, so Philip Seymour Hoffman plays the screenwriter. He's like a new screenwriter, and William H. Macy is the director. And there's a part where, I don't want to give it away, but basically something happens where they have to rewrite something because of a contingency in the location and whatever. And the director is trying to, William H. Macy is trying to convince Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's like, oh, but it's so important and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, and then finally, the writer, screenwriter, he's like, well, maybe it's for the best. And William H. Macy's director says, best or not, it's with the gods. We got to ride this thing out. So best or not, ready or not, it's with the gods. Here we go. Never surrender. So joining me, really excited. Gwen, who's one of our software engineers here at Pulumi. And we're going to, and by we, I mostly mean Gwen, I'm going to sit here and just offer color commentary and stuff. And Gwen's going to hack on some things. And we're just going to see what happens. But we'd love to, as you join, like, let us know what's making sense, what you have questions about. And we're going to just have a good time. And, also, if you're in the chat, let us know if you like the movie Galaxy Quest, because we do.
That is correct. And because secretly, I'm really just like an alien in a developer suit today, and this is meant to be informal and a conversation. At least that's what Matty told me before he suckered me into doing this. I am by all means open to audience participation, questions, tips and tricks, and all of the same. So let's see. What do we have? Are we sharing I've never done this particular
you can.
thing.
No, I took it off. If you're ready to share.
So I'm just going to start out with a blank terminal and some ideas. So one of the things that's super cool, in my opinion, about Pulumi is that it's sort of an interface between you, the developer, and all of the tools that are out there, like all of them. Well, not all of them, but potentially all of them. And I'm actually going to go a little bit into this why. So in a previous life, I ran Kubernetes clusters in production, and that was really cool. And Kubernetes clusters are traditionally something that you would, have to create and recreate a lot of, but there are situations in which you might want to do that.
Unless you're like a developer advocate or a sales engineer, and then you do it like 5 times a day.
Exactly.
But normal, regular humans that work for a living do not do that.
But there is a use case for it, right? Yeah. So especially if you're like a business trying to like bring up like production environments for your clients a lot, and then like this might be something you might want to look into. I know people toss multi-cloud, multi-providers around a lot, but when you're dealing with customers, they come to the table with ideas, right? They're like, I'm sorry for this mysterious reasons, I will never use this particular cloud provider. I'm not going to name names here, but like you might choose to not go with a particular cloud provider over the other. So what I want to do is just, the same start. I'm going to create a directory. So now here, this is where Matty's going to do talking because I can't talk and type at the same time. So I'm going to make sure never give up.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Gwen, can you pull that, make that a little tiny bit bigger?
Even more bigger.
It is never, as my friend Layla, who does stream, says, it can never be big enough. There you go. Perfect. Amazing. Okay. So we're creating a new Pulumi program, right? Or are we not even that far?
We are creating a new program.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to see what we were doing. Okay. So we got ourselves our new directory. For those of you who haven't done Pulumi thingies before,
All right, so I have an empty directory. Now
Okay.
I'm going to do a Pulumi new TypeScript because TypeScript is a little bit, I tried to do this and I tried to play around a little bit with Go and I was like, well, I'm going to have to like fix that for our components.
Engine is our friend Engine is rolling his eyes right now because every time he'd come on the live stream and I'm like, I'm going to do this in TypeScript, I'm going to do it in Python. And he's like, why can't you do it in Go? And I'm like, we'll do it in Go for you sometime. But
well, I mean, this is a personal goal I have. I did try it, but then I was like, shoot, it's Thursday already, and no.
It's again, Go or not, it's with the gods. Okay, so we created our new. We're gonna walk through our default.
This should be.
You could just hit enter.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not a valid program name.
This
Pulumi changed this. This is great.
I've had this happen before, and I don't remember why.
I don't. It's anyway.
For some reason, I've had this happen to me. Yeah, it's. Are you in? Is there something already in the directory?
Nope.
Okay. Well, give it a name. Okay. Well, you sure can't call it that. Well, you just named it LS.
That's awesome.
Oh, Piers is right. Yep, you already have a project called Never Give Up. That's why.
I do? What? Okay, let's do this. Okay. New TypeScript. Project name Gwen is awesome.
There you go. Much better. Although I'm surprised you don't already have a project.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I removed that project. I hit enter. Dev is fine. So now we're going to see the screen do its Pulumi magic. This is pretty great. I learned this week that all of this stuff comes from a repository named Pulumi Templates, where you will basically get a scaffolding. If I look at my file structure now, I have a Pulumi YAML. I have all the node modules installed. I mean, well, a node module directory. I don't actually have them installed yet. We'll do that next in Next.ts and all this stuff. Cool. So now I'm going to use my, okay. I'm going to bring up the code. Here we are. I'm going to make this bigger too. Do not worry. I'm
very excited because I feel like everybody who does engineering at Pulumi loves IntelliJ, and I don't even know a damn thing about it. And I just use VS Code for everything. So really, I'm just going to be watching you use IntelliJ and try to understand why y'all are so enamored with it.
The main reason I use IntelliJ is because IntelliSense for Golang works in it. The end.
Okay.
And yes, I know.
Does IntelliSense for Python work in it in Pulumi?
I have no idea because I've been trying to pretend I know Python successfully. No one has called me on it.
Yeah.
All right. So here we have an empty Next.ts file. And in order to not type and talk at the same time, I am going to copy from something that I prepared for you in advance. First,
which for those of you, if you haven't done Pulumi before, one of the things that's cool, which you won't kind of see, is the type aheads and stuff that that we'll get because all those packages are there, but we can go ahead and paste in. So fun thing. So we're seeing a squiggly on that import because we haven't added that package yet. For those of you who don't do
that is super cool. So Pulumi Sivo is a provider that I'm going to find the docs for. Pulumi Sivo. So y'all know you don't know what Sivo is. I had no idea what Sivo is, but Sivo is a pretty cool cloud provider with which you can bring up Kubernetes clusters quickly, which makes it awesome for demos. So here we are. These are the docs. Matty, if you want to send a link, that would be dope. I'm going to make that bigger too. Ta-da! So here we are. I'm following this. Import a Sivo from Pulumi Sivo. I can look at the installation. I have set up the credentials already, so we don't have to worry about that. That's not fun to watch someone do. So here is API docs, and we want to bring up a Kubernetes cluster. So
I'm really interested to see how this goes because when I do workshops where I need a shared Kubernetes cluster for everybody in the workshop, I've been using DigitalOcean because that's been kind of one of the fastest ways I've been able to do it versus something like EKS or whatnot. But I do know that Sivo is pretty dope. So I'm interested to see, and I may have to move over to Sivo for these purposes.
So there's a very bare example here, and one of the tricks that I do, because I work here, is I actually go to the source code. Where's the source code? Right here.
You can do this even if you don't work at Pulumi. You can do it for
free. I know, that's right. But so here's examples. And I can go in here and just kind of look at Kubernetes TypeScript, minimal. And here we are. We have what should be a working example. And yeah, that looks right. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to paste that in for y'all. So you can see I'm creating a firewall first, because that is required for me to bring up a Pulumi cluster, a Kubernetes cluster with Sivo. Not all cloud providers have this requirement, but this is one of them. So I'm going to do all of this. Now back to my terminal. I am going to import that particular package right here, the Sivo, from npm first. npm import
Kubernetes cluster.
Kubernetes. Wait, specify what the heck npm install. Well, fine. This is what I get for writing stuff in a language that I don't really speak. There we go. Okay, that looks good. There's a green 0.
Yes, and
that sounds awesome. Do I need Pulumi? I don't think I do.
No, that already was there when you did your Pulumi new. So if you go back into your code, go look at your package.json now.
Oh yeah.
And which
make that enormous.
Yeah, so now see it added Pulumi Sivo. Pulumi was already there. So if you'd seen that, so that was one of the things that happened when you just did that. But when you fire off that Pulumi new TypeScript, it took care of the only thing it took. Now, just for reference, so I think so Engine mentioned, he said a template, so you can do, like, for example, you can do Pulumi new TypeScript AWS TypeScript -AWS.
That's correct.
So there are templates. So I think there might be a Sivo template.
There is, in fact, there is.
That would have actually handled that for those of you watching along.
Yeah, I just personally, like, I love those kinds of abstractions when I already know what I'm doing. But when I don't know what I'm doing, I just love doing it the slow way.
Also, you tend to have to go remove a bunch of stuff too. So that was more for context of, especially if you're watching in the chat when Engine was talking about the template. That's what he was talking about.
So let's see what happens. I just want to go run Pulumi up because I like to see what's going to happen. So we're going to create the Pulumi stack when it's awesome dev.
One thing before you.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So just
go ahead.
Super quick for people who don't know. So Gwen is already logged into the Pulumi service somewhere, so that's how it knew what to do. That's what's storing the state. But one thing here is, again, we can see what it's going to do. Go ahead and go to details.
Oh, details, yeah.
So this will show exactly what it's going to do, right? So you'll, besides just saying it was going to do that, but you'll actually see it's going to create all of these specific things and what the name is going to be. And this is just a fun little Pulumi thing so that you're aware. So you see it's going to create that, for example, that firewall, right? So when it says the name is Gwen-FW- something or other. And this is one of those things that if you've never done Pulumi before, you're going to get confused by, but it's actually kind of awesome. Pulumi we call this auto naming. So the name that it has, it's going to append that kind of random string to the end of it. And the reason for that is to avoid name collisions, right? Now, everybody, and I shouldn't make generalizations, but everybody gets confused by this the first time they do it. And also, sometimes you don't want that, right? Because there's certain examples where you're like, okay, I literally am going to have one thing called this, right? Like a good example is usernames and something like Datadog or whatever. You can absolutely override that. But in the case of like who cares what it's called, right? So perfectly good. So we can see all these great details. And now we can do some stuff with it.
Cool.
Now you can actually
So the other thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to actually hit no, because what happens the first time, and this also tripped me up when I used Pulumi for the first time. If you're new here, basically the first time you run Pulumi up, what's really happening technically is that you're running a Pulumi preview. And you see how the output is the same. It says previewing update. If I scroll up right here, like we saw previewing update. So you'll see the same three things. You'll see type, name, and plan. And because the output on my terminal is so pretty, it took me a while to realize that if I run Pulumi up,
nothing
and then hit,
happened.
Nothing happens. And then the confirmation, this is actually really great, because if you have sticky fingers, or you're just like very excited to try stuff out, or it's 9 p.m. at night and you really just want to get this one thing to work, this is a really good stopgap. I actually like this from a user perspective, even though it seems annoying. So yes, I want to perform this update. And now the columns are different, right? I still see the types of things that are in my stack. I see the name. And then like now I see a status, not a plan. And I think that's pretty awesome. And so we're actually seeing this whole thing rolling away, getting created. So
there was something. Oh, and by the way, so another little fun fact. So the preview is great, but especially as you're like writing Pulumi code and trying to figure it out and stuff, you will find yourself often like, okay, I just want to reapply. I don't actually care. So you can do the sort of what I would call the YOLO flag, which is -y. So if you do Pulumi up -y, it won't do the preview first. It basically implies the yes.
It really depends on what kind of human you are. I know this flag exists, and I'm tempted to use it almost every time I use Pulumi. And I always stop myself from doing it because I know I'm going to break everything with it.
I agree with you. And there are very few examples of, but one of the places where it could be is sometimes, okay, I'll give here's one example of where I would Pulumi YOLO is I have a Pulumi program that spins up my DigitalOcean Kubernetes cluster for a workshop. I've run that Pulumi program 100 times. Well, maybe not 100, but a bunch. I'm not changing it. I just know I need it. It's fine. Just do it. And I may or may not have a bash function in my profile, or have been meaning to, at least. I don't think I have it in there right now, that will map Pulumi YOLO to Pulumi up -y, because it would be fun to just type in Pulumi YOLO. But then I'm afraid I'm going to do that in a demo sometime and a stream, and people are going to think it's an actual command.
Right,
maybe it should be. I don't know. Okay, cool. We have a question. Wow, that was...
Yep.
I gotta say, I feel like this is a hell of a lot faster than DO. So
so let's take a quick peek at my code here on the left. I'm going to remove the file structure. We don't need it right now.
Like Pulumi Russian roulette, where it just sort of spins.
So we have 3 nodes. That's pretty awesome. We have, so if you look at it, we needed to set a bunch of things. We need to know things about Sivo in order to do this, right? We need to know that Sivo has regions called a certain thing. We need to know that Sivo needs a firewall ID. We need to know, and as I found out yesterday, we also need to know which kind of nodes are compatible with clusters with Sivo. I tried to use a tiny cluster to save our wallet, and no, can't. Or was that Linode? I don't know, because I'm going to create another cluster now and doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to which one do I do first? Actually, what I'm going to do first is all right, now let's go back to my terminal, and I'm going to use and I can't talk to my cluster. So what gives? Well, it turns out I don't have a kubeconfig. I don't know what the kubeconfig is. I don't know anything about, I guess I could go into the Sivo, I could log into the Sivo service and see what's going on there, but I really don't want to do that. So, Pulumi up -y-f. Ooh, I love that. I love all those.
So the trick here's this example. doing the alias, the only reason I don't like that, yeah, you can do it. The reason you have to do a bash function is if you want it to be Pulumi space YOLO, right? Like, so Pylo is, that would totally work. It's just for some reason it's not as fun. Also, there's a Pulumi effort. I will put a little shout out to a really important tool that I can't actually give the name to because we try to have a PG-13, but it's called the F word. And it actually helps, it recorrects your commands when you type them in wrong. It's basically a did you mean? It's super duper good.
Oh yeah, I have that.
Yeah.
Forget.
Yeah, it's you know what? Fine, whatever. I'm gonna find it for you.
Yes, please. That'd be awesome. So I have learned yesterday that apparently your Pulumi stack comes with a bunch of information. So that's pretty great. I'm going to export some of these things. So my Pulumi stack actually knows what my cluster name is called. So of course, I set that here in the program on line 13, but I'm going to also export the kubeconfig, which is also a thing. Kubeconfig, Sivo.
I'm sorry. Okay, I am laughing very hard at someone said you should alias dir to Pulumi up -y skip preview because people who type dir on a Linux machine need to be taught a lesson.
I mean, I just tried to name my Pulumi stack ls, so
yeah, so this is fair. This is fair.
So notice, because I have this npm package all like installed, and I have the best editor of all times. I promise I don't work for whatever they're called. IntelliJ? No, they're called Eclipse. I don't even know what they're called, but look at this preview. I can just know that kubeconfig is an output that I get from my Pulumi stack. So that's
I like how you
great.
imply that this wouldn't happen in Visual Studio Code because it 100% would.
Whatever, Matty. Okay, cool. So I got that. I'm going to save, and I'm going to run Pulumi up again because I should get something else from my
Can I ask you to do a tiny little favor for me?
Yeah.
Can you sort of squish up the bottom of your terminal window? No, you were fine, but just the bottom, because you see, I don't know if you can see how your
yeah.
The bottom of your terminal is getting covered up by the. Oh, you don't even have to go that far.
Boom.
That's good. Yeah, that way we can see what's at the bottom. Yeah. Perfect.
Also, yeah, I know I'm going to take heat for having a bright themed terminal.
No. For things like this, that's when you're supposed to do that.
Hey, I'm secretly a genius. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So now I see these outputs. Cool. I get my cluster name, but this is still just the preview. So oftentimes we won't get to see the outputs because Pulumi actually has to query the resources for this information. So I'm going to perform this update. This should be very quick because we're not actually doing anything to the infrastructure. We're literally just talking to the Pulumi engine and asking it for information. So this is what stumped me next. Secret. What? But I want to have my kubeconfig. Where is it? So I have to be a little bit more specific. If I go to, let's see, where's my Chrome here? If I go to Pulumi secrets.
By the way, fun little fact. So when this came up yesterday, and I saw it too late after it was figured out when Gwen was asking how to get at this, because I have in my Pulumi program that spins up my DO cluster, there's a commented out line in the Pulumi program, which is the stack, which is the command to run to get the kube config.
So here's the thing.
Way for me to remember it.
I don't think I'm going to show the kube config, even though I'm going to totally delete this cluster on the command line, but I still want to get it and read it into a file. So where is this? Working with secrets, you want me to find the, are you looking for the stack
command?
Output. I'm looking for the command, but okay, I can go.
Let me remember where I've got it.
I have it in my memory. Pulumi stack, maybe? Export, no, not export, Pulumi output. Oh, it's not that. Show the kube config and don't delete the cluster. Nice try. Output kube config. Thank you, Pierce.
So I'm just going to put this in the chat because this is my example. So if you go take a look at that file, you don't have to go in, but look at the very last line. And the last line of that, I'll put it in the chat as well, is...
So now I get secret again.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the flag show secrets. And I'm going to read the whole thing into kube config sivo.json, I guess.
You need to dump it in a JSON. Can't you just do it actually,
I don't know.
I mean, it fundamentally just matters like what kubectl is going to be a thing that kubectl is looking for. So as you'll already see if you look in the chat, you'll see that both Piers and I named the file something different anyway. He's right that it needs to go in .kube/config.
Yeah, I did not need to do that actually.
Wait. Oh.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet. So now I'm getting nodes. I'm getting 2 nodes. That's fascinating.
How many do we think we have?
We think we have 3. That's fascinating. That did not happen before.
Those of you who are what's the word I'm looking for? Frequent viewers of the PulumiVision stream will remember that yes, we care strongly about security on this stream, so much so that when Allie Diamond was on a few weeks ago, I actually let her pop a shell onto my laptop. Like I was like, oh, no big deal. Look, you just now have you can now remote in as me into my MacBook.
Well, this seems fine though. What I can also do is I can show you what the Pulumi stack looks like anyway. Pulumi stack export. This is going to show you what's happening here. Don't read that, but here you can see all these outputs. I'm going to clear my terminal. There we go. But yeah, here's 2 nodes. Unclear why there's 2. I did ask for 3. Node count 3. Fascinating.
So what happens if you, I guess because the cluster, here's a wacky idea. Do this for me. Go back into your Pulumi code. What if you change it to 4?
Let's find out.
And then run a Pulumi up again. Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, these are pennies to the dollar, but still, you know.
So if you Pulumi up again, you could probably yell it.
Gosh, why? Do it. Matty made me do it. All right, so we're seeing an update. The difference is in pools. And then error.
Oh, I wonder if your Sivo cluster doesn't let you have more than 2 nodes.
That again did not happen.
What is it not like? What did we make it?
I don't know, man.
Interface is nil. Oh, does something else change in your code? Oh. Wait, go back. I wonder if in the file you interface.
This is a Go error. This is a Terraform provider error. Wait for Kubernetes node pool create. Sweet. Let's try it again.
I was gonna say that's what
happened.
What is even a security? That's true.
Same error.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Can you go back to your code for a second? Because I want to see if something.
You know what might be it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to destroy this cluster and I'm going to rename it and give it a different name. It might be a name collision.
But it shouldn't be creating a whole like you should be able to change that one parameter.
Let's say delete it.
Again, can you flip back? Can you flip back to your Pulumi program for a second?
Yeah.
I just want to.
Name. I removed that cluster yesterday.
Oh, I see what you mean because it's a.
I just
Oh, so maybe it. Oh, but you did. So maybe it's trying to manage the same cluster.
Maybe it's still
Yeah. So
keeping some
maybe,
stuff.
maybe I
That's
see what
why I
you're
was
saying.
like,
Do a
yeah,
destroy. So maybe that's why it was 2 nodes because you actually weren't doing anything.
right.
Maybe.
Maybe Pulumi destroy.
This one I like to do a -y on because it feels powerful.
Okay.
I feel like I'm an enabler of you in YOLO mode.
Cool.
Okay,
Now I'm
don't
going
remove the
to
stack. Yep. Okay.
not remove the stack, but I am going to rename this cluster and call it Gwen. Gwen demo. Well, yeah, Gwen Sivo demo. There we go. That might be it. Name demo. This one's a Sivo thing. This is a Pulumi thing. So,
but when you put the name in there, that's what's actually.
That might be.
No, I think you're okay though.
Let's do 3 nodes again and see what happens. Cool.
I'm still impressed by how fast this is, though. So
right.
this is legit changing my entire workshop strategy.
Fascinating. At least you learned something.
And I feel good because I have a lot of friends who work at Sivo, and like maybe so there's I feel like I should actually see what it does. Okay, cool.
And then I'm gonna run Pulumi up.
Gosh. Yeah. Yo, look at this. Look at how quickly you changed your philosophy on this entire thing. We went from 20 minutes ago, Gwen's like, I'm aware the flag is there, but I'm very uncomfortable with it, to like, just F it. Here we go.
I mean, yeah.
Again, it's demo land. It's
I see how it is. I see how it is. This is I think I've been on streams before, but like I'm like, I don't know. So far, this is like somewhat less scary than performing piano in public in some ways, and somewhat more scary because at least if I perform piano in public, I have practiced. Well, ideally, I have practiced. All right.
So this is a little nutty because I feel like this is not nearly as fast as the last time, which might explain because it might have been that it actually really didn't create a cluster last time because you already had one.
Maybe.
I could be wrong, but doesn't this seem like it went super fast last time? And
no, you were talking a lot.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I was talking a lot. That was probably me, not you. But let me go back here, and I'm going to port over my Linode code and make a couple of tweaks as well.
Cool. As long as
because I do want to use Linode as well. So for Linode, we have a few different things. First of all, we have a squiggly line, so we need a new Linode package, and let's do that.
I'll go find the
Pulumi Linode, and I will import that. I will not import, that's not what that's called. I will npm install that in a minute. So, and I'm going to call it, I'm not going to call it my cluster. I'm going to call it Gwen Linode demo. This is not my Kubernetes. Yeah, this is my Kubernetes version. That tripped me up yesterday. Label Gwen demo. Apparently, the Linode provider doesn't have a name, and it requires node pools. There's 2 counts, G6 standard 2, and then tags Gwen demo. Sure. Awesome. And then I'm exporting the same thing. I want the label and I want the kubeconfig so that I can point my stuff at it later. So let's go back here. Update failed.
Oh, okay.
Error waiting for cluster.
Linode,
Oh, you know what?
love it.
I
love
actually saw this. Somebody filed a bug report on that literally this week. And I was like, okay, well, I don't see it. Hang on. Let me look which version I'm using.
Oh, today.
Sivo 2.2.2, yeah.
Today I
That's the
learned
one.
Pulumi about. I
This
didn't know
week.
that.
Yeah, this will give you the version of your plugins.
Oh.
So I'm using this, Sivo, Pulumi, and Node. It'll tell you where your Pulumi account lives. This is just my personal Pulumi. And it'll tell you what resources are under Pulumi management. Here we are, plugins, host, version.
So what did it? Okay, so you got.
But it was waiting for cluster to be created, unexpected state available, wanted target active. Well, let's try this again.
Let's run it. Yeah, maybe it just.
That's. Oh, unable to
that's
compile
your
TypeScript.
Linode.
That's because I added
your
Linode.
code has changed since we.
All right, let me comment that out.
Ta-da!
Computers are the best. Seriously? Oh, because I'm like.
Oh, because now you had the
import statement. Ugh, I'm so
if
smart.
it makes you feel any better, I have had
So
exactly this happen to me where I was doing we're going so I've lived this exact thing. Not the error with Sivo, but okay.
Here we are. Now it's working.
Okay,
so this is clearly a bug with the Sivo provider that still hasn't gotten fixed yet, even with the recent update. We have an open bug. There's an issue. Some very kind person filed it, and I now prove to everyone in public that it's still not fixed. Dope. Awesome. I'm going to Pulumi stack output, export. I don't even know. Output. Pulumi stack output. Put Sivo, show secrets, and I'm going to read that into my kubeconfig Sivo. And now I'm going to use kubectl /kubeconfig and get my notes. It's still just 2. Wow. This might be related to that bug, actually. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
Let's make that Linode cluster happen. By the way, yesterday when I did this, it worked.
I feel like you are feeling, like there's every developer advocate or sales engineer in the world just like felt very seen with what you just said, which was yesterday this worked.
I mean, I have a cluster, I guess. I'll find out. Like, this might actually be a clue as to why stuff is. It might be the way that we are creating the nodes, like the API server node versus the other nodes. I don't actually know. So, cool. So now we have. I'm going to npm install Pulumi Linode. Right now, if I go Pulumi about, the very bottom, I will see right here, I have Pulumi Linode provider. Sweet. So now I'm going to run Pulumi up. This is a preview. And I see that we are going to create a Linode cluster. Yes, I would like to do that. And we are adding outputs. This should be pretty quick. So now I was thinking, it's been pretty fun and debuggy. So what I was really hoping to do was to go back here and somehow abstract away all of this cluster mess into a component that will literally take the name of a cloud provider and the amount of clusters that you want. And I actually was hoping that this is the part where I learn stuff. because so far we've just kind of like been dealing with some ops toil and hearing silly jokes, hopefully, from me. Let's see.
Just give me a second here.
So the other thing that I run into when I bring up clusters for clients, which I don't actually have, but like often when I want to try something out on a Kubernetes cluster, my first thought is I want to go and make a kind cluster on my own machine and then try and see if this works in a local environment. So if you want a local Kubernetes environment, kind is a good option to go. There's a few other options. There's like Docker with Kubernetes, there's Minikube. I sort of got deeply invested in kind for no particular reason. It's just an option. So I looked around and it turns out we don't have an official Pulumi kind provider, but there is a Pulumi kind provider at this one. I don't know where to, whoopsies, what's that? Pulumi Sivo. Pulumi kind provider. I found this on the, it's not in the registry. All right, let's go and see if I can find that link. How are we doing on this cluster, by the way? Still creating? Oh, there this goes. Created. Awesome. So now I'm going to grab my kubeconfig again. Pulumi stack output, and I want kubeconfig Linode. Linode. And now I want to grab information about my cluster. This one should work. Couldn't get version kind. JSON. To go with what? This is fantastic. Yeah, well, let's do this. Oops, not JSON.
Okay.
That's fantastic. I don't actually know what's going on here. Again, this worked yesterday. This is great. Of course it worked on my machine. There you go. Okay. Let's just show those secrets. What's going on? All right. This is not a kubeconfig, is it? That is not a kubeconfig. That is bizarre. I thought I had a kubeconfig. Okay. Let's go back to my code. What am I doing here? No, that should do it. That should totally be a kubeconfig.
Sorry, I'm taking a look. I'm also listening to the trouble that I think my dog is getting into because I'm not paying attention. So
that's very fascinating. Why am I not getting a good kubeconfig?
okay,
That's pretty weird, to be fair.
So I think, okay, so he's saying the LKE is the base 64 encoded kubeconfig.
Right.
Okay, so wait, this is on the Linode. Okay, let me.
This is on the Linode.
I know, I'm taking a look at the doc to see if there's a.
So weird again.
Which resource are you using on this one?
I'm using.
I just want to go back to your code for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a LKE cluster.
LKE
Okay.
cluster.
Got it. Sorry. Okay. I just wanted. I don't know why I was blanking on trying to.
And then I'm getting the kubeconfig.
Yeah. So it's the base 64 encoded. So I think you need to. But
why would it be okay? Stack output. Let's see. There should be a kubeconfig in there.
Yeah, you got to decode. So Engine's right. You have to decode it from the base 64.
All right. So
if you do like base 64 -- decode against that file and dump that somewhere, that should do it.
Really? Okay.
I think. So do like decode. Okay, you got that's the file you had. Yep, and then do like and then space and do an arrow greater than and put it to like wherever you want to put it. Although I think yeah. And then now if you look at Linode config, that should, or if you again you can connect, yeah. There you go. Yep.
Damn. Okay. Again, this is interesting. Cool. I learned something. Let's find out if we can now see the clusters.
But the file's different. Remember what you're setting to, like you gave it a different file name.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm doing that right now, literally. Oops.
No, part of it is because the end part of the I can't see everything because our faces are over part of your terminal. So that was.
I see. Do I need to scroll it back up again?
No. You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry.
And we called it. What did I do? Oh, -- kubeconfig. Yes. Okay, here we are. We have 2 nodes. That is what I asked for. Thank you, Linode. Boom. All right. Cool. Next, I was going to make we have 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 3rd cluster and then sort of, let's see.
So
I was going to show off the community kind provider, Kubernetes and Docker provider. But what we might want to do, if we have time, is to abstract this away into a component. What do you think?
So yeah, I think we can try. I'm trying to. It's funny because I haven't really played with too much on component providers in TypeScript, but I think we can figure it out. So let's do it. Just give me a sec. I was looking for. I just had something. I swear to God, I just saw what I wanted.
Of this.
Okay, this is our TS.
There you go. So now I only have these 2. Cool. So I put all of this in index.ts, and in order to make a component, what I want to do is I go here to Pulumi, to the Pulumi docs, get started, and I want to look for components, authoring a new component resource. Fabulous. Show in TypeScript, I would do something like this: class my component. This is kind of why I wanted to do this stream in the first place. But then Kubernetes.
Which, can you drop that link, because that's a different one than I had found. That was, we actually have a doc that sort of talks about this, and it shows TypeScript and Python code, but all the explanation is about Python. So I was like, that was not a great one. So that's why I want to see what. So if you pop that in the
private chat. Do I
just probably the private chat?
Okay. Private chat. Ta-da! I found it. It was hidden by the bottom of my screen. There we go. Okay. That's the one. So what I'd like to do is wrap these things into a component. So let's see, new file. I'm going to just call it component because I'm boring. And then I would like to move all of this from index.ts, right? I'd have to like basically copy everything and move it over here. And then in my index, and then wrap it into a, let's see, and then wrap it into this. Let me make this bigger again for y'all. I'm sorry. Come on. Come on. Nope. There. Boom. And wrap it into a component. So how do I do this? Constructor name. Okay, so my component needs to have a name, which I'm going to call it cluster. So this one, I did not rehearse this one at all because
this is going to be great. I'm into this too because, again, like I said, I have not fussed with this in TypeScript, so I'm super excited.
So I'm gonna make this.
Hang on, what do you got? Okay, so you're gonna create a class. Now this
call it my cluster.
But I think you need to. It's interesting that it doesn't tell you to export the class.
I don't. Yeah. So upon creating the.
Okay, no, it's probably okay. It could just be. I'm just looking at a different example that we have of a component resource in TypeScript, but it's.
Yeah, I was looking at examples too, and they were not super enlightening.
Okay, well let's see what you get. Also,
so now I need to instantiate the name, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, fun thing as we're going through this, and realize, so if you were to watch a previous stream last time we were on, we actually took a component resource that Lee had written in TypeScript and then showed how it was able to be then generated for all of the other generate all the other SDKs. And I remember Gwen and I were talking about this, and it was sort of like, well, why would you need to do that? Because if you're creating a brand new component resource, or Pulumi package from the beginning, it would have that. And it's like, well, because you might have had something you wrote before that was a thing. So no.
This is me trying to understand how to abstract away the component so that I can do something in my index file that looks like this. Looks like, what would it look like? Yeah. Const my cluster. Actually just cluster. Cluster equals, let's see, let's split this out to the right. What's the, and then new, and then I would call this something, right? It's component package, new component resource. I don't know how to import this code.
Hang on.
TypeScript.
What do you, sorry, I just lost my, so wait, you import that as Pulumi. You need to import it into the actual, so go back to, are you in your main, it's hard for me to, not your main, your index.
This is my index file on the left.
Okay,
this is where I'm trying to make the components on the right.
Okay, so in your import statement, do import, and then like in curlies, do I think it'll be cluster, lowercase, cluster, and then because that's the or no, I'm sorry, it's my cluster, right? That's what you're. Okay, it should be my cluster.
Lowercase? Interesting.
No, the same as what you did, I think.
New cluster, my cluster.
New cluster, and then it's from.
Okay.
And then in quotes / whatever, I can't see the name of the file. Component, but you don't do the TS, just components. Just that. Okay, so
I'm learning TypeScript today.
Did you save the file? Is the file accessible?
Yeah.
And is it in the same path? Like, is that the right path?
Yep, it is. Project files.
Oh, do you need a wait? Well, what's the red squiggly for? What's it complaining about?
It's saying cannot find module components or its corresponding type declarations, because I probably didn't declare anything here.
Yeah, right? Hang on. Let me.
How does that work?
Give me a second. I'm gonna look at. See, because you didn't export it. See, that's the thing. I think you need to. I think it needs to be export class web server, not just the class, because you're not exporting it, so nobody sees. Yep, Pierre's got it
right here. Export class.
But I don't know why our example doesn't say to do that.
Let's see. Still not. Well, I also haven't fully implemented it.
I know, but it's still complaining that it's maybe because the class is just not done.
Yeah. Constructor name. I'm just following this, and
no, I know. I'm looking at.
I don't know. I don't know what to do. So maybe we should do a follow-up stream.
Yeah, Pierre says everything has to be in the constructor. Okay, so I think it's just because the constructor isn't done.
Right. So
we are running low. We only got a couple minutes, so we will do a follow-up. That said, speaking of following up on things, don't forget that we have Pulumi Up is coming May 4th. So number one, please come in and register and check that out. And we will also be part of Pulumi Up. So on the second day, so on May 5th, so on the follow-up day, we are having our first ever Pulumi Community Summit, which is going to be a few hours of community-driven conversation in virtual open spaces. So if you go to, I will actually, give me 1 second, I'm going to grab the link for that for you to suggest topics. Sorry, I'm not prepared, but yeah, go to this.
All right. While Matty is looking and trying to talk, I want to thank everyone to show up and watch me flail in public. That was scary. Thank you all for being kind and helpful. I am so excited you're all here, and this is all a continuing community effort to show what's possible with Pulumi, make Pulumi better, and hopefully for everybody, including me, to learn stuff. So
we got through the whole thing and we didn't make one Galaxy Quest reference or joke. So we fundamentally completely
failed. Are you telling me we failed?
We really did, but we'll just have to do it again. But this was awesome. Thank you. I hope you had a really good time. I had a good time. Everybody, thanks for joining. And don't forget to follow or subscribe based upon whatever way you're watching us. And we will see you on the